Hello, or should I say, ho, 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 ho. Merry almost Christmas. We got, 8 days left, y'all. I am excited to chat with you today about how to know your worth and pitch your value. Because this is a incredibly critical topic that I could talk about this particular topic for hours and hours and hours, for years, for the rest of my life. Because knowing your value and truly understanding your worth is the key to unlocking everything in your creator career and learning how to make lots and lots of more money. So let me know where you're tuning in from. Hey, D, thanks for tuning in. I am live on TikTok, on Instagram. Let me pull up my Instagram chat. I'm live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, Twitter, everywhere you can possibly imagine. Let me see, make sure. There we go. Live on on Instagram as well. Gracie, Nadia, thanks for tuning in. What do you guys think of my festive? I didn't even talk about this Christmas tree that I have. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Let me do. There, it's supposed to light up. Why isn't it lighting up? Hold on. This is really disappointing me right now. Come. There we go. What do you think of that, guys? Is that festive? I don't think I'm going to wear this thing for the whole time, but I wanted to initially because it made me happy. We bought these because we were doing like an ugly Christmas sweater thing with the kids, and we were wearing these. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Gracie, thanks for tuning in from Vegas. Dee's laughing at the headband. That makes me feel happy. Okay, so we are talking all about knowing your worth and pitching your value today. So here's the deal. The first thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this is how to separate your success metrics. Okay. And so I think that we, as people in general, or as creators, have a certain set of, wow, this thing is still going. I'm really impressed. I thought it was going to turn off. Maybe it'll stay on. Is it distracting? Retrieve Technologies. Oh, we got my boo April joining. Thank you. I think it'll probably go until I turn it off. So I'm just going to keep it on for a little while. April says, hi, Hottie, with the tree headband. Oh, you know it, boo. You need anything? Come on over here. Oh, and I also, by the way, I have this festive, winter, snowscape scene overlay. What do you think of that? Anyways, okay, so what were we talking about? I'm getting super distracted with this. I think I'm going to take this off because it's distracting me. It's very fun, but I just wanted to have it on initially. Okay. I think I do need to turn it off. I thought it was going to be on for 5 seconds, but here we go. Okay. So success metrics. Okay. So in general, I think as creators, we have a certain set of measurements that we use to consider ourselves successful on social media, right? For the content that we're creating for our followers, right? And it's primarily vanity metrics, right? So you've got followers, and you've got viewers, and you've got engagement. And when we're not growing as quickly as we want, or let's say maybe new content doesn't perform as well as previous content, we feel like we're failing, right? And I can tell you firsthand that this mindset is very, very difficult to ever get over. But you do get better. And I actually wanted to show a tweet that encapsulates this very well, I think. Patty Galloway, if you follow Patty, is a really, really smart YouTube consultant guy. And he said, I am so bad at celebrating things. The minute I hit a milestone, it's on to the next thing. When I hit 100,000 for the first time on one of my channels in 2016, I looked at the number on the screen and I just went, 200K would be nice. Right? Has this happened to you? Have you ever felt this way? Because this is a pervasive thing, I think, that happens to everyone on social media. And so I wanted to talk, just give you kind of a quick anecdote about my wife and I have been on social media for over 10 years. And if I had to look at our viewership over the last year, let's say compared to the height of our viewership over the last decade, our views this year, just on YouTube, for example, because YouTube is where we started and kind of still consider that kind of our home base. Our views this year would probably be among the lowest, maybe 7th, 8th, 9th place out of 10. And yet we have made the most money we've ever made this year by a pretty wide margin. Okay. We were just like starting to reconcile stuff, getting ready for like taxes and stuff for next year. And I mean, it's just mind boggling, right? And the reason for this is that we have a crystal clear picture of the value that we provide, that we bring to the table when we partner with brands in particular, right? So let's talk about what are the values that we communicate. Okay. So, number one, we are professionals. When you work with us, we will meet every deadline. We are proactive. We treat every partnership as if it's going to last forever, right? And that the client will just want to keep hiring us over and over and over again. We don't throw a hissy fit when things slightly go off the rails. We don't nickel and dime brands that ask for like very small additional things that weren't in the agreement. Right? We are actually interested in ensuring that this partnership is amazing and that our contact at the brand looks like a genius or a hero to their boss for finding and hiring us. Right? The work that we deliver is so polished that they almost never have any edit requests because we've actually read the influencer brief in extreme detail to know what they want and what they're trying to avoid. Hey, Scotty Price, XJ Will, thanks for tuning in on TikTok. AK Beta Nikita for Instagram. Who else we got? D, what's up? It's right. So, and another thing is that we communicate that the reason that we can do all of this is because of our experience. You know, they say like through repetition comes mastery. So, you know, when you don't have a lot of experience doing something, it's of course going to be scary, right? But when you start understanding the dynamics of partnering with brands, you start to realize that they don't have all the answers either, in fact, right? And maybe their knowledge is pretty basic with this stuff. So, you know, you coming in and providing tips and like best practices about certain platforms, maybe it's TikTok, right? A lot of brands still haven't figured out TikTok. I'm live streaming on TikTok right now. What's up, Jason? Thanks for tuning in. You know, again, a lot of brands still haven't figured out some of these platforms, or they're just too scared to approach it. So one major thing to remember is that the value that you provide is going to change based on who you're talking to. Let me say that again. You have to remember when it comes to knowing your worth and knowing your value, that the value that you provide is going to change based on who you're talking to. So some people like might think it's really awesome that, you know how to do a certain skill or film it in a really unique way, right? They literally never bring up your following. They never talk about your engagement rate, right? Any of that stuff, because it doesn't matter to them. Any of the stuff that you think matters, right? That's not what they care about. So if you come into a discussion with a brand leading with that stuff, before you find out what's important to them and what they're trying to get out of partnering with you, they're going to be like scratching their heads like, okay, well, that's nice. Thanks for sharing. But we don't really care about that stuff, right? We're just excited to partner with you because we think that the content you create is amazing. Right? And we actually just maybe like want to repost it on our platforms. Right? Speaking of which, I was actually chatting with someone on TikTok yesterday, I think, about this idea. And especially the idea of being the face of a brand, right? Like how do you become kind of like their primary ambassador on their platforms? Right? It's one thing to like do a sponsorship and then send you stuff and you talk about it on your platforms, but what about when you're actually like the face of the brand, and like kind of the primary ambassador? And this is kind of actually an interesting concept because, in my experience, like most brands have never even considered doing something like this, because Like there's no one who works at their company who would want to volunteer to do that. Let's say on the marketing team, right? And they don't want to have to cast an actor through their agency or a production company and basically like keep working with that person in the volume necessary required to like establish a consistent presence on like, let's say TikTok, for example. Right. So if you approach them with this idea that maybe, like maybe you can use the analogy of like Flo from Progressive Insurance, like, Flo from Progressive, like, I love your brand so much that I want to be the face of it as a freelancer, right? I'm not asking you to hire me, but I want to be kind of like your informal ambassador. Here's all the reasons, right? I've used it for 5 years. My followers always ask, me about which products I'm using. And maybe I think there's a much better way to bring your brand story to life on social media. Yes, the investment is going to be $5,000 a month, but here's all the things that I'm going to do for that. I'm going to do X number of TikToks and reels and shorts and, YouTube content. I'll help you figure out your paid strategy. I'll sit in strategy meetings with your marketing team. I'll introduce you to other creators that can help you collaborate and bring your, influencer strategy out of the Stone Age. Maybe don't say that to them, but April, my wife in the chat, what's up, boo? She said, I want to be Flo. Yeah, you are Flo in my heart, boo. But yeah. And Gracie says now getting sponsored content, not getting. Okay. So Gracie got a question. I want to answer your question soon, Gracie. Like here's the other thing. Like, so I just got done teaching my gifted to paid workshop where I help you convert free product offers from brands into paid partnerships. And one of the things that I taught was that literally the sky is the limit when it comes to what you can propose to a brand, right? Many creators think that the only thing that you can pitch is like posts on your social media platforms. And that's just not that interesting to most brands. Let me say that again. Like pitching a post on your social media platforms is really not that interesting. That's what every other creator is pitching. Again, it's really not that interesting. So your proposals need to be unique. They need to be novel, right? This is Jessica Rose sent you likes. Thank you, Jessica Rose. I appreciate you very much. Official Hill Visual. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate that. Jessica, I gotta say, April and I were absolutely dying at that video you posted recently of you like leaving the training for that job. Like we were just like our mouths agape. We were just like, what is happening in this video? Like we were literally deceased. Like we were laughing so hard. Like seriously, like that was mind-boggling. So thank you. It's good to see you here. It's hilarious. And we need to chat offline. We need to get things rolling again for you. My goodness. So yeah, so in terms of like novelty and having proposals that are actually interesting, that actually get brands to respond, like you're just like any other creator when you pitch things that are uninteresting, right? And I've said, this is like, I feel like my motto. I feel like I need to get like a banner or like a sign in the background here. You do not be a creator, be a consultant. Okay? Because that is what is going to unlock that income potential for you. So anyways, like I wanted to start this off for the first, kind of 15, 20 minutes talking about this particular thing before. And again, if you have any questions about your social strategy, knowing your worth, getting more brand partnerships, leave it in the chat because I definitely want to answer those. But in general, I just wanted to mention that, knowing your worth and pitching your value is as simple as asking questions about what they value and then tuning your pitch to play up that particular strengths that you have in that area. I'm going to say that one more time to hammer this home. This is really, really critical. Knowing your worth and pitching your value is as simple as asking questions about what they value and then tuning your pitch to play up the particular strengths that you have in that area. Okay? Gracie in the chat said, so what about when you're green to sponsored content, because of you, I'm not getting because of you, I'm not getting some sponsored because of you, I'm now getting some sponsored content, but I never really feel like I know where I stand. Gracie, well, I'm stoked to hear that you're now getting some sponsored content. That's amazing, first of all. Super cool. Gina, thanks for tuning in. So yeah, so being green to sponsored content, this is my perspective when it comes to this, which is that, hold on, I just like, I don't know, this hat is like sitting here for me, and I just feel like it feels lonely, and the fact that I'm not wearing it, I just got to put it back on. Okay, there we go. Got to answer this with the Christmas tree on. So, Gracie, when you're green to sponsored content, one of the most important things I think about this is getting those repetitions under your belt, like I said, because when you do, can you take me seriously with this thing on? I hope you can. When you get those repetitions under your belt, you will start learning all of the different things that you should do better next time. So one of the reasons why I post all the content that I do on social media is to help you avoid a lot of those things. But when it comes down to it, understanding the dynamic, the back and forth with brands, understanding, the expectations, the timelines. Like I talk often about this, but when you're green to sponsorships, you don't really think about this, but it's worth talking about again. Let's talk about how long it takes to actually bring a campaign to life. So let's say that you're doing cold pitching to a brand. Okay. You reach out, they finally respond after a week. Maybe you have some follow-ups. Maybe it takes a couple weeks for them to actually respond. Then they ask you what you had in mind. You come to terms on, what you're actually going to be doing in partnership with the brand. So that whole process about actually like coming to terms on what you're going to do is probably going to be about a couple weeks at a minimum. If they respond to you, or if they reach out to you first, maybe it'll be a little bit quicker. But that alone is going to take a couple weeks. Then they're probably going to ask you to submit a concept for review, right? Because they're going to say, okay, well, before you shoot, we want to make sure that we avoid reshoots and revisions. And so we want to make sure that the concept that you had in mind in terms of how you're going to bring this campaign to life is in alignment with what we're hoping for, right? And so hopefully they'll send you a creative brief or an influencer brief, which is essentially a 1 to 2 page document that outlines exactly what they're hoping that you talk about in the content. Okay. And if they don't have that, by the way, I hope you're asking them for that. Be like, hey, can you send me this information so I have a lot more specifics around what you want me to talk about. By the way, that's the quickest way to do tons and tons of reshoots and revisions, is if they don't send you that information, because then what they had in their mind is just some like very amorphous thing. And then you actually deliver the content, which you think is really good. And they'll be like, well, actually, that's not what we had in mind. And then you say, well, you didn't give me a brief. You got to avoid that situation so that doesn't happen. So the first thing is getting the brief, submitting the concept. So that alone, submitting the concept, getting the concept approved from the brand, is probably another 2 weeks. Then when they come back and they green light you to shoot, maybe you have a week or two to shoot. I don't know. You can probably tell them what production timeline you have, but usually it's 7 to 10 days, right? Then you deliver the content for review. Okay. If it's a larger brand, they probably have lots of cooks in the kitchen. So there's the account. If it's an agency, there's the account manager, maybe the account manager's boss, maybe someone else at the agency, maybe the legal team at the agency. Then they send it to the brand manager, the influencer marketing manager, the assistant influencer marketing manager, the brand's legal team. So it's like you laugh at this, but like there are so many people sometimes that can get involved in providing feedback to potential brand partners that you may be working with, right? So when you actually get that feedback, back from the brand, it could be 2-3 weeks from when you initially submit it. So you're doing the math here. Like this is a lot of time from when you initially like came to terms with the brand. So then they come back to you for revisions. You submit those revisions a couple days later. Then it's another approval period. Crazy, right? Then finally, let's say 2 weeks later, you get the final green light. Okay. And they say, okay, we want you to actually post in like a week. So you finally do the post in a week. Then you submit the invoice, and it's going to take another 30 to 60 days probably to get paid. So if you calculate all of that, there is so many moving pieces in there. It actually, you're going to be interfacing with these brands for a good month or two at a minimum. I go back and I look at some of these threads of interacting with brands, and sometimes it can be, 70 emails back and forth, 80 emails back and forth for all the logistics associated with the campaign. So I think a lot of creators think it's like this very easy process. It's kind of one and done. Sometimes when you're doing deals through the the brand deal platforms, can be a little bit more streamlined, but those deals are not going to be as lucrative. Like the deals that are more lucrative are the ones that you're forging directly with the brands, directly with the agencies, and usually that's happening over email, not through the brand deal platforms. There are some exceptions to that. Like my wife and I recently got a $15,000 deal through a platform, so that's amazing, but not that's like an outlier. But I see Jessica Rose with her crying emojis there. We got a kick out of that. And thank you for sharing the video. I saw that you shared the live video. Dang, I didn't even know you could do that on TikTok. That's so cool. Thank you. And so again, for those of you just joining, what we're talking about is knowing your value and how to pitch your worth, or knowing your worth and how to pitch your value as a creator when you're working with brands and things like that. So what we're talking about now, Gracie is asking, what about when you're green to sponsored content and you haven't done enough? And so what I wanted to talk about again was just this like process that there's so many different kind of moving pieces when it comes to working with these brands, understanding the dynamics, understanding how you can improve, how you can communicate more effectively. I know like one of the things that when I taught my course Gifted to Paid, one of the biggest pieces of feedback I got is that people are just nervous. They're nervous that they're going to say the wrong thing if they get, especially if they get on like a phone call with a brand. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to seem stupid, but it's like at the end of the day, like these are things that you will get past. You just have to get some experience under your belt. Again, repetition, mastery comes from repetition. So doing these, types of campaigns, I'm a big fan of it. I think it's like important to do that because you're never going to be an expert. There's always things that you can learn. There's things that I'm learning. I am reading a book right now about negotiation. I teach a course on negotiation. It's called Brand Deal Wizard. And it's a 4-week course all about how to take your income to the next level. Right. And stop leaving thousands on the table. Right. And so even I am learning things after a decade of doing this about the art of negotiation, because it really is an art and a science. Right. And so Gracie, to answer your question, like I really do think that what you're doing is right. You're starting to do sponsored content. You're starting to accept these deals. Watching content like this, taking courses, educating yourself, investing in your knowledge. These are all what's going to help take your career as a creator to the next level. Yes, like there are shortcuts along the way for sure, but it is going to come from like getting this experience under your belt. Hey, Ria. Ria was in my Gifted to Paid workshop. Thanks for joining, Ria. With that said, I feel like maybe this is like the gem Christmas tree. Like when I'm about to drop a gem, I'll turn on the lights and I'll put it back on. How does that sound? I'm gonna take a swig. I need to tune back in to the YouTube chat because I have been not acknowledging that. I realize there's a bunch of Mr. Zachary. Hello, Lindsay Gamble. What's up, Lindsay? Fourth born child. Melody, D and fam. Lindsay said real quickly, as a marketer, 100% agree that we're open to creators pitching, especially if it's something forward thinking and new and can help the brand stand out from competitors. Lindsay, amazing. By the way, congratulations, Lindsay, on your company Maverick for raising, what was it? $120 million. I think I saw that article yesterday. Boom. So does that mean you got this fat promotion? You got the penthouse now. You're sitting in a hot tub as you're watching this live stream, Lindsay. I'm just kidding, but congratulations. That's pretty amazing. Like I said, guys, influencer marketing is just getting started. We are in the second inning. $120 million investment to Maverick, which is a brand deal platform. Amazing, right? Melody said, after taking Justin's classes, I now know how to figure out the challenges of the brands so I can solve the problems for them and get paid for it. D says, Melody, that's amazing. You're killing it. I love to hear it, Melody. Melody says, this is so funny. I had a brand contact me last night and I told them we need a brief. They asked me, what was that? I explained it to them and then they realized the importance of speaking with creators. Look at this, Melody. It's a game changer. DMFam said, Gifted to Paid was amazing. I learned so much. Melody said, this is like a hype train here. Brand Deal Wizard was the best class I have ever taken. I'm screenshotting this one right here. Thank you, Melody. I appreciate that so much, honestly. And I'm screenshotting yours too, D. My goodness. I came prepared with a larger water bottle today because that's just I need to be prepared because I've noticed, have you guys noticed that I've had like dark circles under my eyes some of the days? I'm getting a little bit more sleep. I actually went running today. Look, normally I do strength training in the morning, but I haven't gone running in a while because it's been pouring. It's been raining. We've had a huge storm come through the Bay Area. And I went running today. It was freezing. It was like 30 degrees, but it was amazing. I feel so rejuvenated. I feel amazing. I love running. I love listen. I was listening to the audio book all about negotiation. It's amazing. The thing that I found about like listening to these types of books and like is what I'm really trying to understand is like I feel like I know a lot about negotiation, like about especially partnering with brands and things like that. But I don't know everything. And if there is like one gold nugget that I can learn that I could bestow to my students and be like, hey, I heard this like amazing thing in this book. I think this will be really valuable for you when you're negotiating with brands. If I get one gem from listening to an entire book, it's worth it to me. It's worth it to me. One of the things that I got from the book that I'm currently listening is actually quite fascinating, which was that oftentimes in negotiations, one of the biggest um, hurdles to coming to an agreement with a brand is the two sides audience. And not audience in like a social media traditional way, but like for example, the book is actually not just about like business and sales and things like that. They also give a lot of real life examples about like um when you're trying to negotiate like a peace treaty, like with an armed insurgent, and it's like the government talking with the insurgents, or it's like a terrorist negotiation, or it's just like a business deal. So there's like all these different types of negotiations that they use to illustrate their their points. But like, for example, the idea about like who is the audience of the negotiation. Sometimes, for example, if it's just like a normal business negotiation, perhaps there's an audience of like that person's boss or another department at the company or something like that. And they actually have input into this and you don't even know about it. Right. And so one of the biggest pieces of advice that this book gives is going into the negotiation, understand who are all the decision makers, who are all the people that are going to be impacted by this partnership. Like coming to terms. Right. So if you actually can like bring that perspective to the initial part of the negotiation and be like, hey, like I would love to understand like who are all the decision makers? Like, is it just you? Like if we were to if we were here's a good example of that is like maybe it's the marketing team reaching out to you, and they you basically find out that they have a separate team for paid advertising, and you could basically say like, hey, like I know that the paid advertising team or the paid media team is not like part of this discussion or whatever, but are they going to be interested in using the content that I create as paid ads? Because if they are, like, I would love to be able to like bring them into this discussion, understand a little bit more about like the types of like orientations of the content that they'll need. For example, maybe they want to run a 15-second version of this as an ad on Instagram stories or on TikTok or something. That's going to be a totally different format. It's probably going to look a lot different, but that's probably important to know before you sign the contract and give them your pricing. Right. Because if you know that there's all these different other uses that they could get out of the partnership that they didn't even think about. Because again, a lot of this stuff happens after the case. Like you sign the deal, you like make the content, and then your contact comes to you and be like, hey, like the media team loved this content so much that they want to use it for paid ads. Is that okay? And at that point, you got to be like, actually, you have to pay me. You have to compensate me to like use it for paid advertising. And actually, like I would have loved to be able to deliver you a piece of content that was optimized for that use, not just like kind of repurpose it. Right. Because, like if you are going to do a TikTok ad or like a IG story ad, it's probably going to be a lot more effective to like hold the phone, like instead of like shooting it with your professional camera. It's probably going to be a lot more effective to just do like a 15-second ad saying similar talking points, but using your phone instead of like your professional camera. April and I will do that a lot when we partner with brands, like, and they want to use like, they want different cuts for different purposes. Again, we ask them about all this stuff beforehand. And so we'll like say the same lines, we'll shoot it twice, or maybe we'll have a phone mounted right next to the camera so that we have that orientation so that we can cut it appropriately. So these are things that you really need to like be conscious of when you are like interacting in these initial negotiation stages with brands, because they're not going to think to ask it because no other creator has ever asked them that. But when you start asking those types of things, it's going to be a total game changer. BT's Life, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in on TikTok. Oh my gosh, Kim Brands, thank you so much for tuning in. Oh my gosh, Kim, I miss you. I hope you're doing well. So glad to catch you. Great information. So nice to hear from you, Kim. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that there are oftentimes, like this book said, this is like a gem that I learned. You think about it, that's exactly the case, is that oftentimes there are just other parties that are privy or that are going to be impacted or affected by this negotiation that this particular party is forging, and yet they are not at the table, which can be a challenge sometimes. And that often is like wrenches that get thrown into a partnership, is because they come back to you with these requirements after the ship is sailed. You've created the content, you've maybe even delivered it. Maybe you haven't posted it, and you'll be like, oh, like, well, there was this other person who has this input, and you didn't even know that was going to be the case. So it's really, really critical. What other what other buckets do they have that I can access? Melody, can you clarify what you mean here? Like, what other buckets of funds? Is that what you're talking about? Like the stuff that we were talking about in the gifted to paid workshop? Let me know. Let me know what you mean there, because I would love to dig into this further. Yeah, because one of the things that we talked about in the gifted to paid workshop is that there are understanding like all of the different budgets that the brands have for their marketing spend. BT's Life, is this an open Q&A? Yeah, you can. Yeah, Q&A. Let's do this. Of course. What questions do you have about sponsorships, brand partners, brand deals, negotiations? I do this every single week at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's all about brand deals and sponsorships. So yeah, let me know what questions you got. Yeah, and like Melody said about these different buckets of funds, brands, it's a very, I used to be in a corporate 9 to 5 environment. I was in medical devices, completely separate and different from what we're doing now on social media a decade ago. But I was in those meetings where we had to make budget determinations. So we had to figure out how much money we were going to spend on different things. I was a product manager, right? And so I had, there was a marketing team, there was the product development team, there was manufacturing, there's all these like moving pieces when it comes to planning out your budgets for the year. And this is something usually you do on an annual and a quarterly basis. And so what these brands do is they have different budgets that they allocate to different activities that they're doing for marketing. So, if it's a large enough brand, usually they will have what's called a media agency, where the media agency will determine all of the different things, all the different ways in which their marketing dollars will be allocated. So maybe they're going to spend, let's say it's big brands will spend billions of dollars on advertising. No joke, billions, but most brands are going to be spending tens of millions. Okay. And so they need to figure out, okay, of those tens of millions, let's say it's a $50 million marketing budget for this year, let's say 5 million is going to go, or 10 million is going to go to broadcast, which is TV. So they're going to do TV ads. And then another 10 million is going to go to outdoor, which is like billboards and bus benches and bus shelters and, all this stuff. Then another 5 million to print, which is like magazines and, newspapers and blah, 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 blah. Then another 5 million is going to go, or 10 million is going to go to digital media. So that's going to be banner ads or pre-roll ads that you see before YouTube videos or whatever, right? So it's like you start carving up, and then maybe $1 million of that is going to be influencer marketing, right? Where they're going to actually compensate creators to make custom content talking about the brand on their social platforms, right? So the reason I keep saying and then, but and then you have what's called a general media budget, where you're taking the content that you've created. And this isn't even talking about the production fees associated to create the content to run the ads, right? Because if you're running a TV ad, you have to have an ad to run. You actually have to have a 30-second spot that you produce, right? So you hire a production company, you hire actors and you hire actresses, and you have some sort of ad. And those ads cost $1 million to produce, to shoot. You got to pay the crew. You got to pay, do the location. You got to pay the actors, all this stuff, like $250,000 minimum. Like, honestly, it's very expensive to produce TV ads like that. And so the reason I say that is that you need to draw the analogy to yourself as a creator that, yeah, the brand is not going out there and spending $250,000 to shoot this TV ad. Instead, they're hiring creators to shoot it, and then you're promoting it on your platform. But oftentimes what the brands are going to want to do is take that asset that you created. You are a production company in a box. That's another one of my favorite sayings, right? Is that they will then take that asset and then put additional dollars to run paid advertising with it on social media, right? And so they have to pay money to do that. And so the reason I say that is that is a separate budget usually. It's called the paid social budget. And one of the things I was teaching in my workshop, Gifted to Paid, this week was that you can actually borrow money from those other budgets and say, hey, if they tell you that they don't have a budget to like work with creators, you can say, okay, well, can you allocate some funds from these other budgets that they're using to run paid advertising? Right? So there's all these kind of like next level tactics that you can use to like get yourself paid as a creator, basically. Melody, I'm so glad that was helpful. Yes, happy to kind of break that down further. Okay, in the TikTok chat, BT's Life said, being a small creator, where would one find brands that would work with them without signing up for media sites? It's a great question. So one of the things I teach in my course is Brand Deal Wizard is really how to pitch, is how to understand what brand partners would be good for you. The biggest exercise and the biggest pieces of advice, I have what I call the brands in your house audit. And basically you go and you get up and you walk around and you like look at all the stuff that you use in your life. I don't know exactly what type of content that you're creating, BT's Life, but you go over to maybe your lifestyle and you just, what clothes am I wearing? What kitchen utensils am I using? What food do I cook with? What stores do I go to? Think about all the things that you authentically love and use and maybe organically talk about to your followers, because those are going to be the brands that you're going to want to authentically reach out. And by the way, it doesn't have to just be these giant brands. Maybe it's local brands and businesses. I actually released a video maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago all about 5 surprising ways that you can make money as a creator in 2022. And one of the areas that I mentioned was working with local brands and businesses, because local brands and businesses have money. They have budgets, especially if they have a brick and mortar location. They actually need people, foot traffic coming into their stores, right? And so if you can come to them and be like, hey, I've got, 10,000 followers, let's say on TikTok or on social media or whatever, that is all the credibility that you need to tell this local brand or business that I'm going to help you with your social or your influencer strategy in your local community. So maybe you don't have a large concentration of followers who live in Pittsburgh or something, but this local like Philly cheesesteak shop, sorry, this is like a stereotype, but I said Pittsburgh, right? This local Philly cheesesteak shop, you are going to help them blow their TikTok up or something, right? And so you're going to use all this knowledge and this expertise that you've learned growing your own following on social media to help this other brand. And yes, your strategies and your tactics are going to have to be tailored to your local community. But that's an awesome challenge, I think. And figure out how to get people who live in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia excited about this Philly cheesesteak shop on the corner of 3rd and Main. I'd like totally made that up. But it's like, how do you do that? I don't know. That's a fun challenge, but I bet you anything that brand has money. They need to figure out how to get people in the door, how to figure out how they can create content that they can use for hyper-targeted paid advertising on Facebook or Instagram, because you can do that. You can create content and then you only serve that ad to people within a 10-mile radius of the actual business, right? So there's all these things that you can learn as a creator, and you can take this expertise that you have gained, growing your own following, and make money in your local community. That is the biggest hack. Because again, by the way, when the pitch that you're giving to a local brand or a business is not, hey, pay me, I'm going to talk about you on my platform, when that's not the pitch, and the pitch is, hey, I'm going to help you take your social strategy to the next level, then your rates that you can charge to the brand is completely divorced from your following. It no longer matters how many followers you have, because your platform is now your portfolio. That's all the credibility that you need to go out there and teach them that. Tutor You Learning. I have like an interesting idea for you. I know you do a lot of educational type stuff, like ed tech and like all that stuff. Pitching a local university, local community college. You show them your TikTok, you show them your Instagram, they will eat that stuff up. And you can say, hey, I'm going to help you increase your enrollment to your university or something like that. It just totally came to my mind here. And it's like just in your local community, right? Help them understand how to blow up their social media accounts. They have money for this stuff, guys. You don't just have to target these gigantic national brands. Yes, those are the ones that, are most present. You're seeing other creators like, partner with those brands and things like that. And yes, you can still make money from those types of brands, but there's so much money to be made from working with local brands and businesses. It doesn't even have to be local. Like, it could be a state over. Like, brands will fly you out for this stuff. Businesses will fly you out for this stuff. Tutor Your Learning says, yes, sir, I've worked with universities before. Great idea. Yeah, and you can get even like more hyper targeted about this. Maybe you create, this is totally random idea. Maybe you create a course dedicated to more of like a corporate audience that these universities can purchase seats for. Maybe it's a understanding how to leverage social media as a university. How niche of a course is that? And you can, like, maybe you charge by the seat. They can purchase 15, 20, 30 seats for their faculty or their administration or whatever, and you charge them $2,000 a head. I don't know if you've ever thought of that idea. That sounds like a pretty cool idea to me. And this is something that they allocate into their budget for next year. I don't know. I kind of like that idea. Have you ever thought of that? Tutor Your Learning says, have you ever used a team of VAs to create and film content for social, not just editing? Interesting. So I will give you an insight into what I'm doing right now, which is kind of similar along this vein. I had a completely cold outreach DM. Someone DM me and said, hey, we specialize in short form content. TikTok, Reels, Shorts, etc. And it was perfect timing for me because I have been trying to figure out my short form strategy, because what I have been doing to date has been just kind of like repurposing my long form YouTube content. And it hasn't really worked out that well. It's been okay, but you can tell it's repurposed. It's not native like short form content. And I know, like, I've had people reach out to me, but like, you have to double down on your short form strategy, especially TikTok. Like, there's so many people on TikTok who are sharing advice about brand sponsorships, and they don't know a fraction of what you know. Like, you really need to do this. And I'm just like, I know, I just like feel like I don't have time. But basically what this person reached out to me and said, hey, I specialize in this. And I said, okay, well, I just don't have time to like be like filming 5 TikToks a day or whatever and like posting it. I just don't have time. And so I said, okay, this is what I'm going to propose. I want to do voiceover only short form. So what I want you to do is I want you to send me scripts. I'm going to here's what I want you to research. So they do the research about an idea. Then they come back to me with a draft script. And then I edit the script, and then I record the voiceover with this microphone here, and I record it in 30 seconds or a minute. Like, I can record them quick. I send the voiceover back to them, and then they send me the finish TikTok. So I've posted 2 like that. And they're doing crazy. They're doing awesome. The first one got 10,000 views. The second one I just posted yesterday has like 4,000 views, which is a lot for me. I only have like 1,300 followers on TikTok. And it's awesome. I'm super excited to like ramp this idea up. And so basically the footage and the stuff that they film, it's all kind of like B-roll, stock footage, like really engaging graphics and stuff like that. And it's all kind of in the realm of sponsorships and brand deals and things like that. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to try this new strategy because, at the end of the day, Tutor Your Learning, this question about having a team of VAs and things like that. I am just one person. At the end of the day, I can only do so much. And I have all these like really ambitious dreams of all the stuff that I want to do and all the types of content that I want to film. But I don't have the time in the day. My wife and I are doing all sorts of stuff on the side beyond this Creator Wizard stuff. We're doing brand partnerships. We stream on Amazon Live every single week. Over the Black Friday and Cyber Monday weekend, we filmed 6 times in 8 days, or we streamed 6 times in 8 days. And streaming is not just like this. It's not just turning on the camera. When we do our live commerce, our Amazon live streams, it's like so much preparation, pre-filming stuff, like getting the product carousel ready. It's just like there's so much work involved. And so it's different. So we are really, really busy. And then I have my influencer marketing agency that I also run. We just finished up a campaign for Legoland, California, where we had tons of influencers come for the holidays. My wife and I went and things like this. So it's just like, I have so much stuff that I'm doing. And so I literally cannot do it myself. And so I'm starting to like put some of these pieces in place. I actually have about a VA. This is something that I have been consciously trying to tackle. It has not been a nut that I've cracked, but I do have an interview with a VA at 1 o'clock today. So I'm very excited. And also I am working with Dee. Dee is in the chat. Dee is helping me with the newsletter. She helps me with blog posts. She helps me with like research for the newsletter. So she helps me like moderate stuff for my courses. Like that's the other thing is like as my course like cohorts increase, like I had I think 26 or 27 people in my gifted to paid workshop. I had for the next cohort of my brand deal wizard class, which enrollment starts on January 31st, I am probably targeting 50 creators. So that's it's like a lot. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of administration, customer support type stuff, emails. It's just like starting to become huge, and it's great. It's exciting. These are all good problems to have, right? Like all this stuff like is all good stuff. But it's like I need to fill out my team to help me do this stuff because I just can't do it. I feel like I'm going crazy. I really do feel like I'm going crazy. I started like journaling because I was starting to feel a lot of anxiety around everything that I wanted to do, but feeling like I couldn't do it all at the end of the day. My social, like I feel very beholden also to my social media. I want to reply to every comment. I want everyone who's like, like responding to me if I'm posting a tweet or a YouTube comment or whatever. I want to be able to respond to them and give them the, same type of I don't know. I feel it's like it's hard because it's like I want to be that kind of pleaser, I guess, of like, I'm a people pleaser for sure. Because I want to help everyone. Like I truly want to like give people value, help them like make more money. It's just like a really big ambition that I have. And when I can't do that, I get a lot of anxiety. And so one of the things that I was noticing over journaling for the last month or so was that my email inbox gives me a lot of anxiety. And so one of the reasons why I want to hire this VA is to help with the email management because and help me kind of like triage it, help me understand what emails I need to like jump on right away, what things I can, read later. I am not the expert in this. I am not the person to like look to as like, oh, Justin's got it all figured out when it comes to like managing a business like this. I'm still trying to figure this out. I still very, very much feel kind of like a solopreneur. I have like, team members for sure that are like helping out with various things, but it's like, I don't feel like I have like this very strategic overarching like well-oiled business at all. And so I'm trying to get there though. I'm trying to put like processes in place and, work with the right teams and things like that. And Tutor You Learning says journal about your goals, your values and priorities. Very useful. Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Is trying to get a lot of, I used to be very good about this stuff, about setting goals and like sub goals and like sticking to them and stuff. But it's like when things start to grow and it's like, you've got all these pieces that you're trying to like, I think honestly what I feel like is that I feel like I have a lot of different things that I'm doing and keeping them all rolling at the same cadence is very difficult. Like I have a blog that I want to stand at. You probably didn't even know at creatorwizard.com. You can go to creatorwizard.com. There's a bunch of articles up there. Dee is helping kind of like optimize a lot of those, get new articles up there. I want that to become a resource for people too. So it's like my SEO strategy that I have on the blog and how that, my newsletter, like if you like get my newsletter, it's like a huge amount of work. There's so much information in there. I'm curating brand partnerships, opportunities. We're doing secret intel. If you refer a creator to my newsletter, you'll get access to even more detailed research. I have a new video that I try and post every single week. I do a live stream every single week. I'm surfacing news articles related to the creator economy. And Dee is like I could not do this without Dee because she's the one who helps draft the emails every single week. I kind of help edit it and curate it and things like that. But I would not be able to I was doing it for a long time. And it was just chaos. I was like getting so burnt out. And so even with Dee helping with that, I still feel like I'm at capacity again. I'm like, how did this happen? Like I brought Dee aboard. She was like helping with this stuff. And then now it's like, I'm still working to 11 o'clock at night every single night. Like, how's this happening? Like, so I really want to like get to this point where it's like, I can concentrate on these kind of longer term initiatives, like partnerships. And I want to be on a lot more podcasts and like, I love creating content. I want to create more content, but it's like, there's all these administrative fires that I like want to put out and things like that. And so, again, I do not have all the answers. And so it really is a work in progress, and I'm happy to be kind of like an open book when it comes to this stuff. And D says, oh, hey, what's up, Hannity? Great to see you here. D says, I make an intentions board for my creator journey, and for 2022, I'm focusing on journaling and keeping a separate planner for YouTube specifically. That's awesome. Yeah, and D said, yes, the newsletter is a lot of work, but I love it. It's fire. Yes, D. I'm so appreciative for your help. I could not do it without you. Don't use spoons. In the TikTok chat, said, how can someone join the team? Interesting. Thank you for reaching out. DM me. Just shoot me an email. I'm very easy to find. Justin@creatorwizard.com. Love to learn about what you think you could contribute to the team, because I'm always looking for people to like help bring aboard and help with all the stuff that I'm working on, because I cannot do it all alone. I literally cannot. I do not have the capacity nor the I honestly feel like, oh my God, I had to take a swig. I feel like I've been talking nonstop for 20 minutes. Let me actually put the Christmas tree thing back on. There we go. What do you guys think? I really wanted to have this festive atmosphere for this live stream, because I also did want to mention that this is likely going to be the last live stream of the year, guys. I want to take a break, be with my family for the holidays, and so I wanted to make it extra festive. But gonna gear up to a really fantastic 2022. Melody says, that's awesome, Justin. We need to talk. I really thought you had a large team. Well, I appreciate that. I have gotten that feedback a lot, that it's like, how on earth are you posting all this stuff on social media, running your courses, your email list, all this stuff, doing all the stuff that my wife April and I do? And the question is that we're not proudly, we're workaholics for sure. We like, and honestly, I think part of it is that we both absolutely love what we do. And that's the difference, is that if it was like a very toxic thing and like we hated our jobs and things like that would be a recipe for disaster. But for us, it's like, this has been the most like amazing job that we've ever had in our entire lives. And so the reason I stay up so late, and the reason I do all this research and read all these articles to surface them for you guys and surface all these brand opportunities and things like that, is because I absolutely love doing this. I get so much personal fulfillment. Like I honestly view this as kind of like the next chapter of my life. I feel like we have experienced so much success personally as creators that I feel beholden. I feel like I owe it to people to like help them achieve the same thing, because I really do feel like everyone can accomplish this. I really truly do. If you have a business mindset, you look at yourself professionally as a creator, like you can make this a reality for yourself. If your goal for 2022 is to like, quit this side hustle and make it a full-time thing, like I believe you can do that if you look at it very objectively and make a plan and put that plan in place. So I really do. Blended Beauty says, how are you casting on all these social channels? Teach me. Blended Beauty, I am using Restream. Well, actually, I have a separate phone. Let me actually show you. I have a separate phone here. Oh no, you can't. Oh no, that's not going to work. I have a separate phone here. Let me do this right here. This is the phone I'm using to stream on TikTok right now. Sorry, TikTok folks, you're getting a bunch of like movement right there. But yeah, I'm streaming on TikTok live secondarily. I'm streaming on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch. There's probably more. And I'm using Restream. So I'm full disclosure, I'm a Restream partner. Basically what it allows you to do is multi-stream. So you can stream on all these different platforms at once. It unifies the chat. So I can see like LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. I can see comments for all those platforms in one chat window, which is really cool. And it actually shows you like, oh, this person is making a comment from LinkedIn or something like that. But it does not pull in comments from like Instagram and TikTok and things like that, which is why I have my phone open for the Instagram chat and things like that. So I'm a big fan of Restream. And actually in the info box, if you go to like any of the other, not on Instagram, but if you go to like my YouTube video or anything like that, there's I have like my affiliate link. So if you want to test it out, you can test it out totally for free. I'm a huge fan of this. And especially too, like when I actually do interviews quite a bit. So I bring people in, I talk to them about their job, what they do, helping creators and things like that. And the interview functionality especially is like next level for Restream. So I'm a really big fan. Yeah, D and Fam said that my goal for 2022 is to work smarter. And Melody says, same here, D. I'm up in my social game. Yes. Love to see it. Love to see it. That's what I want to see. And Blended View said, this is next level. I'm definitely gonna utilize Restream. Thank you. Yes, doing it now. Yes, it's a game changer, honestly. Yeah, so yeah, what other questions you got, guys? We got a little bit more time here. This is the last stream before of 2021, so we got to make it good. Give me like a very, very impactful question that's gonna it's gonna leave you feeling super motivated for 2022. Lovebird Heartworks, yes, I caught you on a live. So excited! Happy Friday! Thank you so much for tuning in on TikTok. Yes, so excited to see you here. Passive income tips. Travis joined. What's up? I'm starting to get more people on TikTok. Yes. Thank you. All right. Who's got the lucky last question? And yeah, you guys like my I had like you remember the Grinch tree in the Grinch movies where it was like this like sad little droopy tree with like one ornament on the end. I had it hanging here on the shelf last live, but I put it up in my son's room because he wanted that. Yes, Lovebird Hardwork said gonna watch the replays of Gifted to Paid this weekend. Thank you so much for supporting me. I really, really appreciate that. And oh yeah, oh my gosh, you're right. That's Charlie Brown. Actually, oh, it's different. It's different. Charlie Brown had a really small little like sparse tree where all the pine needles were falling off. That is true, but there also was like a really small, it was from Trader Joe's and they called it the Grump tree, and it was like in the Grinch writing, so it was actually from the Grinch, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to watch the Charlie Brown movie every single year. That was like a classic Christmas. The two Christmas movies that we watch every year still are A Christmas Story. I absolutely love A Christmas Story. And Elf. Those are like our two favorites. Anyways, Melody said, how do you continue to stay so energetic? Sometimes it can be so draining to constantly stream. I got to admit to you, after this live stream is over, I feel pretty zapped. Like I am a very energetic person in general, but I do definitely feel zapped for like after doing these live streams. But I appreciate that you enjoy the energy because I try to bring it. KM 41708 said we just watched Elf. LOL. Oh, Travis Passive Income Tip said I'm working on some YouTube videos, but have an echo. Any suggestions for microphones for beginners? So if you are the only person who's going to be talking, Travis, I think that the Blue Yeti is a really good beginner microphone. They have one called the Yeti Nano, I think it's called. It's a USB microphone, but it's a just FYI, it's a condenser microphone, so it's very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. So if you have lots of like road noise or traffic noise or road noise in your house or whatever, just be conscious of that. It picks up everything, but it's a great affordable microphone. We use that for a long time. We did recently upgrade our microphones to these, which are the Shure SM7B, but it's a higher price point, and you also do need like a mixer to plug it into because it's not USB, it's not like plug and play. But I do think the Blue Yeti Nano probably is going to be like a great option for you. So I would probably check that one out. Melody Johnson said, make sure you watch Jingle All the Way. Our family loves this movie. Jingle All the Way. That sounds really familiar. I feel like I have seen that before, but it's not jumping to mind of what that is. Anyways, Jessica Moylan said, hey, from the UK, so glad I could catch this stream. I love your videos, Justin. Thank you so much for tuning in, Jessica. I appreciate that so much. What time is it in the UK? It's probably like evening, like what, 8 p.m. maybe, something like that. I don't know exactly. 8-Bit Christmas was pretty good, not gonna lie. Was that the one on HBO? I think I saw that, but on HBO Max, I think I saw that, but I'm not sure. Cody J, what's up, Cody? Thanks for tuning in, man. Man, my TikTok chat's starting to pop off, guys. I'm like so excited. I was, for those of you who are just tuning in on TikTok, my TikTok is starting to do really well. I only have 1,300 followers on there. It's like one of my lowest platforms by far. But over the last, like my last 10 TikToks have done like 8,000, 7,000, 5,000, 20,000, 10,000, 5. Like, I'm just like blown away. Like, how is this even happening? So it's like, I'm starting to kind of like try to double down on doing that. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that. Okay. Someone had a question, actually. Yo-Yo Finds. How do you start the process of approaching these companies for endorsement deals? Or do you wait to be approached? I got monetized within the past 30 days. Yo-Yo Finds. All right. This is a great question because this is a great one to lead us into the new year. Okay. So the biggest piece of advice that I could give you is that you do not have to wait for brands to reach out to you. You can reach out to them. That is the biggest unlock. I don't know what it is about creators. And it's funny you mentioned that I just got monetized. A lot of creators think, especially on YouTube, that getting monetized, like that step, like that's the unlock. You're like, okay, I finally got monetized. Now I can work with brands. And to me, that's completely nonsense. You do not have to wait for anything. You don't have to wait to get monetized. You don't have to wait for a certain number of followers, a certain number of subscribers. There is absolutely no limits. You are not beholden to anything like that to reach out to brands, because like I've talked about many, many times before on my channel and different videos and live streams and stuff like that, oftentimes what the value that the brand finds from you is not about how many followers you have or not about how many average views that you're getting. It's about you helping them accomplish some sort of business objective. What Melody said in the chat here earlier was that she took my gifted to paid course, and she said, I'm starting to understand and ask the brand, what are the problems that they're experiencing and what are the solutions that I can give them? Because it's going to be different for every single brand. Right. And so the solution that you think you're pitching, where it's like, hey, I will do one YouTube video for you and one Instagram post and blah, 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 and my audience XYZ, that yes, that can be part of the pitch. But how do you know whether the brand will get excited about that? Maybe they're like, oh, well, we've always wanted to have a YouTube channel for our brand. I don't know why I made that voice. We always wanted to have a YouTube channel for our brand, but we could never figure out the gosh darn thing. You can do this. Wow, you got 8,000 subscribers on your YouTube. You know what you're doing. We will pay you $8,000 a month to make YouTube videos for us. Okay, I'll stop with the voice. But you laugh, but like that happens. That happens. Okay? So the biggest piece of advice I have, Yo-Yo finds, is you do not have to wait. You do not have to wait for brands to reach out to you. You can reach out to them. Okay. Jessica actually has a question. I've been approached by brands a lot of the time, and they just want to get free products. A lot say that if the average views is under 1,000, they can't apply the budget. Well, the challenge there is, well, Jessica, I literally just finished a 2-day workshop called Gifted to Paid, all about this very subject, which is how you can convert your free product offers into paid partnerships. And I'm going to be officially launching the course next year. But basically one of the major things that I taught in there is that there's multiple different ways in which you can pivot and provide other things to the brand that they will find value from. And it's not just about conversion, because when they're saying, well, you need to have an average viewership of 1,000, over 1,000, then the light bulb should go off in your head that like, okay, all this brand cares about is conversion focused stuff. Like all they care is like, I have to have a certain number of viewership to like make it worthwhile for them. And if that's the case, there will be some brands like that. And in that case, you just kind of need to move on and find brands that will value what you bring to the table. And it's not just about your viewership. And that's one of the major things that I teach in there is there's so many different ways in which you can pivot and really try and figure out, okay, like for example, my wife and I, we got a free TV sent to us to share on our Amazon live stream recently. They didn't pay us. And we were just like, hey, a free TV, why not? Right. And it was not sponsored. Like there was no real talking points or anything. It was just like, hey, like share it. Like we appreciate it kind of thing. And so when we shared the data with them of the sales that we actually drove from including their flat screen TV on our live stream, we said, hey, we'd love to be considered, like the succinct version is we'd love to be considered for, paid partnership opportunities, in Q1, et cetera. And they said, oh, well, we don't have any paid opportunities upcoming, but we can send you more free TVs. And we're like, we don't need more free TVs. And so the pitch that we said was we angled it and we pivoted it and we said, hey, like, does your team also handle paid media? And do you use influencer content and influencer assets to run that paid media? And they said, oh, they came back and said, oh yeah, we actually do run paid media as well. But we've never used influencer content for paid ads. That's interesting. Let me, let us talk amongst our team and we'll get back to you. So it's like, instead of the door closing in our face and us just like leaving with our tail wagging between our legs and be like, woe is me, like no one likes me, I didn't like that. Usually it's like, well, I didn't like your brand anyway. I'm not working with your brand anymore, right? You get all mad about it, right? That's what a lot of creators do. They get mad about it. And it's just like, no, That's not the case. Right. So again, yeah. Jessica says, oh, Melody and Jessica said you'll love gifted pay. Yeah. Jessica said, I may have to put the course on my Christmas list. Yes. Thank you for your answer and advice. I've had to turn down a lot lately, and I feel like I should just take the freebie and be grateful. No, I mean, one of the like I had a whole section about like affirmations and like daily affirmations that you need to tell yourself when it comes to this topic about not accepting free products is that you do not work for free. Maybe if it's an $800 wine fridge, you can accept it for free. That's what I did. I got a wine fridge recently because I've been wanting one, and so I was gonna buy it anyway. So and there was no talking points. It wasn't required. There was a bunch of requirements and stuff. So maybe there are scenarios where you do accept it and you get that experience. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the key there is that there's not a huge brief and all these requirements and you have to make all these posts and all this stuff. Obviously, you're disclosing that it was a gifted or things like that. But so there are instances where you can do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But the major thing that I teach in my course, Gifted to Paid, is how to actually get them to pay you. Because at the end of the day, you have a lot of value that you're bringing to the table as a creator, and you really should be compensated for that. Tutor You Learning said in the IG chat, do you post these lives anywhere after? Yes, there are archives of the live streams on my YouTube channel on Creator Wizard, and so you can just check them out at your leisure. Yeah, Jessica says, yes, I must say, after a few of your videos, I have worded my brand emails so good, and a lot of the brands email back saying, oh, you're so professional, but we're only offering XYZ. And I'm like, yeah, I get you. Yeah, well, I gotta be honest. My YouTube videos are, yes, they can be very helpful, but there's a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot more detail. Like my courses, it's like, we're on Zoom, right? Like my Brand Deal Wizard course, it's a 4-week program, 1 hour live over Zoom every week. And it's like, it's just like, it turns out to be like longer than that, because there's like a really long Q&A and all that stuff. So it's like, you can go into so much more detail in a setting like that. And instead of, it's a 5 to 7 minute YouTube video, it's just difficult to like relay exactly what you should do, exactly what you should say. What do you do if they say this? If they follow up and they say this, how do you do it? Because there's just so many like details when it comes to this kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'm so glad that you got value out of those though too. Yeah, Yo-Yo Fan says, free don't pay the rent or buy the baby's milk. Elbow cough. Exactly. That's exactly what I do. A lot of those types of posts. Like exposure is not a currency. I think I posted that recently. Anyways, so thank you all so much for joining. I kept my festive tree on for the entire rest of the live stream. I just wanted to again mention, like, this is going to be the last live stream of the year. I'm going to take a pause for just spend the holidays with my family. And I just wanted to end this by saying that I'm so appreciative of you, all of you, because I started the year essentially. I started in June of 2020, I believe, creating content, but really is when like January of 2021 is when I like started kicking things off into high gear, making a lot of content, really doubling down on my newsletter and things like that. So everything that has happened to me over the last 12 months or whatever is truly astonishing to me. And a huge part of it is because of you, is because that you have been watching and supporting and enrolling in courses, and the results and the transformations that I've been seeing with all of you who have been following my content since then, or whether or not you've been following me since January or since the very beginning or since the last 2 weeks. I don't care. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. And I just wanted to say that because I would not continue to do the level and volume of content and stuff that I do were it not for all of you and all the challenges that you're experiencing and the ups and downs. And I view all of these as like mini business problems that I need to help solve with my content and with my coaching and, courses and things like that too. So it's like, I feel so blessed to be in this position and that you all entrust in me. The advice that I give, and you don't just think I'm like blowing smoke up your butt and things like that. So I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope you have a very, happy holidays and a wonderful time with your family if you celebrate. And I will see you. I'm still gonna be posting content, so don't worry. I post content on, I'm shorts and, Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'm at Creator Wizard. And I will say, the absolute best way to stay in touch with me is my email list, because I'm going to drop this in the chat here on If you're on like YouTube and LinkedIn and things like that, I just dropped it in the chat. That's the best way to stay updated on everything that I'm doing, and courses and videos and all that stuff too. So have a happy holidays, and thank you so much again. And we'll talk to y'all soon. All right. Bye.